I think Singapore person at least, we love racist jokes. These are the jokes that people tell in the coffee shop. These are the jokes you tell in school to one another. And that is the backbone of the comedy, of our sense of humor when I'm working on bits like this. Singaporean thoughts come into my Singaporean brain. I think when I first started out, it was something I tried to avoid because I was worried that the jokes don't travel. I think now over time, I am starting to realize that there are more people in the world that know Singapore than we give ourselves credit for. And there are also a lot of Singaporeans overseas that would be happy to hear the Singaporean accent and hear some Singaporean references at the comedy shows. And yeah, I'm trying to wear down that shame and to be proud of myself as a Singaporean to do the Singaporean jokes because that's who I am. And if people are paying to come and see me, they are coming to see the Singaporean comedian. They're not coming to see the Singaporean pretend to be an American guy or whatever shit to do, you know. So like nowadays, I like that there is still a line of like what can and cannot work, but I take a kind of pride when I can make a foreign audience laugh at a Singaporean story. Last year, 2 years ago at the Melbourne Festival, like my big closer, which is also the closer for the special on YouTube, was about the story of me getting caught littering and then going to court. That is like a pretty, I'd say, uniquely Singaporean story of being prosecuted for your crime of tossing a litter on the ground. And I think when this kind of stories work, it gives me a lot of joy that I can share these Singaporean stories, and it also gives the audience a kind of a little peek into what life is in Singapore. I think when I first started watching stand up, it was like I know nothing about America, but when I watch people like Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, I learn and I feel like I have a little bit of idea of where they are from, and I'm hoping I can do that now to do stand up and share what Singapore is like with people outside here.
Speaking of that, so there's some really big comedians that come from this part of the world, Nigel Ng and Ronnie Chang. Do you ever think about, is the market too small in Singapore? Do you ever think about moving to London or New York or LA and doing comedy there? Or do you think you're going to stick around here?
I think I would ultimately always be based here because I love it here, and I think that the scene, the market is small, but it's constantly growing. This is my 11th year doing stand up in Singapore. When I first started, it was one open mic a week, and then maybe like an international showcase once a month. And now we have four shows, four open mics a week, and multiple shows happening all around on a Friday and Saturday in Singapore now. If you time your sets, you can do up to 3 shows in a night. And then same with Malaysia, same with Vietnam, the Philippines. I think the market is it's so much untapped potential in this part of the world. I enjoy performing for people around here much more. I find that I have way more in common with someone that's like say in Bangkok, Thailand, than anyone else in London or the US or things like that.
So, what do you think is behind the growth of the comedy scene here and becoming more popular?
It was just the internet, like more people know what stand up is. I distinctly remember when Buzzers knew like the last Netflix special, which came out last year, like it came out and I could really feel like I don't have any numbers, but it felt like so many more people were coming out to watch live stand up. I had a headline show at the Lemon Stand 2 weeks after that special came out. That show was sold out, which I'm very happy for. And I don't know how much credit I can take myself for selling out the show. But it felt to me like Fuzz's special there because it was like in the top 10 for some time. I think a lot of Singaporeans are catching it. And then that gives them the push to want to try to go and catch a live stand up show themselves. Uh,
Do you think that will ever reach a point where it becomes negative? Like maybe the audiences are too sophisticated or too have too high expectations for the younger comics, or is it just always going to be a good thing to have more people coming out to see live shows?
Yeah, I don't think it will ever be a bad thing. I think if they have a higher standard for the younger comics, then the younger comics, unfortunately, we just have to live up to those standards. And it's not like it's impossible. Like there are enough rooms, there is in a way enough stage time for them to really work at it and to try and live up to those standards. I personally I don't think the local crowd is that super sophisticated, and it's gonna take a long time for that to happen. It is still really so new, and I think most of the audiences are just happy to come out to watch something fun and entertaining for the night. This year we had Happy Ever Laughter at the Capitol by Dream Academy. That was the election special, and that was like a night of just political jokes that we had 9 days on, which to me was is like a big. It feels like it's opening up. Like a lot of people will say, like, "Oh, you can't say this about a BAP or that about your or politicians or whatever." But we had a full night of stand comedians doing all these jokes about all these different politicians. I think the crowd in Singapore is learning what they like, and it's only good because I also don't think like the Singapore crowd would still be like one crowd.
I think that's true that like stereotypically people might say Singapore is conservative, both like society and government. Are you finding like audiences are more open to I don't know, racy or more edgy jokes than before, or is it
What
overblown?
I think Singapore person at least, we love racist jokes. These are the jokes that people tell in the coffee shop. These are the jokes we tell in school to one another. And that is the backbone of the comedy, of our sense of humor, at least. I think when you go online and then things get a bit different. I think people put up different think pieces and whatever it is, they can discuss the merits or the demerits of talking about race so openly. But it's it is what we do. And I think in a live setting at the club, you can pretty much talk about anything here as long as it's funny. You can make the crowd laugh, then nobody's gonna be that upset. Maybe sometimes people will make a complaint or whatever, but I think the general audience that come through to a show are here to watch the show and have a good time and not get too upset about anything.